Hello and welcome to my podcast on radical self-love, an Ayurvedic perspective on healing body and mind. My name is Sandra Hayes and I'm a Vedic practitioner, meaning I utilize Ayurveda, yoga and Vedic astrology as well as transformational creativity to help you become a conscious creator of your own life, health and well-being. For more information and for access to my online learning platform, The Little School of Happiness, please go to www.sandrahayes.eu. So today I do want to address some questions that came in different places, and most of them really were about a similar thing, and that's the connection between body and the psyche, really. If the Yoga Sutras are really a handbook of psychological health, why do we do pretty much only physical practices in the yoga classes? And that's a really, really good question. And the answer is simple, actually, because the body is the most tangible thing we have. And that's the starting point. We start with the body. When we get to know our body, first of all, really well, we build up a really good communication with our body. We get to know our body and its messages. As you know, if you've listened to the Ayurveda podcast I've done a while ago, if not, please do listen to it, then you know that the body, as I always say, is a very intelligent, conscious, living organism that is an expression of our true, authentic self, of our soul, and it will communicate everything we need to know without any judgment, without lying. The body doesn't lie ever. So we need to really listen to our body, and we have to relearn that listening, because most of us don't understand, are not fine-tuned enough, maybe, because we are conditioned to see our bodies as just a physical, mechanical thing, maybe something like a car that we drive in, and if it's broken, it needs to be fixed, maybe even replaced, with some other parts. But in the Vedic system, it is not like that. The Vedic teachings tell us that the body is basically a contraction of the energy that we consist of, that our soul consists of. So it's more like a sphere, or maybe an egg shape, or whatever way you want to picture it. That is a contraction of energy, and this energy contracts more and more until it is physical and material. And that is what we call the physical body. And in the Vedic scriptures, that is what is called Maya Kosha. It's the part, the sheath of consciousness, the part of consciousness that consists of food. We eat and we convert that food, and it's like, molecules forming into certain elements, certain different types of matter. And before any matter can consist, before my muscles can even consist, the molecules for them had to be there already. So the idea for them had to be there already. Maybe go back to the Ayurveda podcast and listen to the Samkhya episode. There it is all described, the Vedic perspective on the evolution of consciousness. But the main part is that body and soul are not two separate things. The body is an expression of our soul, and every little symptom that we have physically comes from something that we've done in the past, something that we have created with our own energy, with our thoughts, maybe our emotions, maybe deeper in our unconscious mind. And even if it's something, for example, we are born with a disease, then it is still something that has been there already, inherited from our ancestors. So it's something that our ancestors have done. And as we are all connected, we are not, in fact, separate entities. It is still falls under the term of karma, because it is the result of an action that had been taken before. And as the Ayurvedic scriptures tell us, one of the major causes of disease is to commit a crime against our own inner wisdom, against our own intuition. And we all know this. We all know that so often we do something, we act in a way that goes against what we already know. We know that, it's not good for us to, drink another glass of wine or eat that sausage now, or, and we still do it. And yeah, we do get away with it, with a lot of it. But over time, we just don't get away with it anymore. At some stage, the body will tell us when it's enough. And the same goes for any emotional, mental issues we might have. We can suppress our emotions for a long time, maybe more or less, but eventually our body will tell us when it is enough. And sometimes these messages, the way our body tells us that, can be very subtle. It can begin with a little tightness. For example, in our connective tissue, the fascia, the system of fascia, our fascia is there to protect us. It surrounds everything. It surrounds not only every muscle fiber, but also every organ, every single cell, every nerve cell, literally everything in the body. And it connects everything in the body as well. That's why it's called connective tissue. It connects all the different systems of the body. It contains not only elastin and collagen and so on, but also immune cells, receptors that receive information, sensory information, and it reacts to any form of violence, any form of trauma, whether we break a leg, for example, and then the fascia around that area or hurt any part of our body, the fascia will then thicken and tighten to protect that area. But it also reacts to any emotional trauma. Somebody who would have experienced some emotional trauma in their life, also the fascia will react by thickening and tightening, and they might feel either particularly stiff maybe, or they might feel pain, like something like, fibromyalgia, or they might feel even feelings like dissociation may have something to do with that as well, because the fascia is like a network of communication. It communicates, and if it's blocked, then it can't communicate properly. So we might not sense very well. We might not, be very present. We might not have a very good sense of our own identification even. And that is the physical expression of something that is going on in our emotional field, in our emotional mind, or our unconscious mind even. And when we do our physical yoga practice, what we do is we spend time, quality time with our body, ideally on a daily basis, or a few times a week, and ideally just a little bit. We don't have to do it 2-hour practice every day. It's enough. A few minutes a day is actually enough. If I take the example of the Ashtanga yoga sequence, what we do in that sequence is, we begin with the Surya Namaskara, with the sun salutation, so that our metabolism is activated. We activate the heat in the body. We might even start to sweat a little bit, and things begin to flow in the body. The energy begins to flow and begins to be activated. Agni is kindled, if you want to say that. And then we do a set of standing postures, which we call the fundamental postures of the Ashtanga system. And these are 6 postures plus some of their variations. And if we do them every day, not every day maybe, but if we do them regularly, these 6 postures, they work the fascia system in every way. They work the spine, bend and extend the spine, and they twist the spine, rotate the spine, but they also work the fascia system in every way. They work the different fascial meridians. Robert Schleip talks about 5 main meridians, 5 main pathways of communication through the fascia. And all those 5 main pathways, or main meridians, are activated during that practice. And particularly the internal fascial meridian is activated through our practice of Mula Bandha, the root lock, where we activate the pelvic floor, the lower abdominal muscles, and we kind of pull up the energy and connect it to the throat. In the throat, we do our Ujjayi breathing, a method of breathing that activates the vagus nerve that passes there. And so it's all very specifically created to activate that whole system, to balance out that whole system. And another thing that happens if we do this kind of practice regularly is that we do create a connection to the body. And particularly if, that practice that we do is, at least in one part, always the same. That is also a part of the Ashtanga system. We do the same practice every day. Now, it might not be completely the same. We might vary it, and over time it needs to be varied as well, and it needs to be adapted to my particular needs on any given day. And that's really important as well, because otherwise we do ourselves damage. But there is always a little part that remains the same. It's like a ritual that we do. And in that ritual, several things happen. For one, yes, we can begin to move in a more meditative way, because we know what's coming. Our body literally moves by itself almost, because we don't have to think anymore what's coming next. But also what happens is that we have that same structure every day, and yet our practice will never ever feel the same. We will always feel different. And particularly for people who are starting out on their yoga journey, that is a really important aspect, because then they will learn about their bodies. They will realize, today the practice felt really good. It felt like I enjoyed the practice. I was actually in the moment. Or maybe another day it will feel, it was really difficult today. I kept thinking about things and it just felt, I didn't feel like doing it at all. And then another day it might feel physically exhausting and difficult. And I actually need, over time, you might, realize I need much less on that particular day. Another day it might feel you have loads of energy. And over time you realize, okay, so maybe I am, as a woman, I am at a particular point in my cycle. So sometimes I will feel more flexible and less strong, and other times I will feel more strong and less flexible. Or maybe I will realize, last night I had a big meal, or I ate something that my body doesn't quite isn't quite able to digest very well. And I will feel that. I will feel over time, I will get more and more sensitive to the little changes in my body. And I will feel little sensations of, for example, in a twist, I might feel, oh, there's a little bit of a feeling of inflammation in my gut, or, or I might feel my energy is low just before I might come down with a cold or a flu. I might not realize it otherwise, but in my yoga practice, I sense everything that is happening in my body. And that is a sign, that is always a message. And I can react to that message then. And so my body is a tangible thing. I can work with it. And that is the first step in our, modern day yoga practice. It may have been different a few hundred years ago, or maybe thousands of years ago even. It may not have been as necessary to really start with the body. Maybe there was a greater sensitivity already. I don't know. But now it really is a really good step to begin with the body. Now, it does not mean we have to do a very strong yoga practice, but we do have to explore our boundaries, our limits a little bit gently. And of course, the first of the yamas, the first rule is non-harming, non-violence, ahimsa, and that is always important to remember. I don't want to hurt myself or my body just because my mind, and usually my ego mind, wants to achieve something, usually some posture, and we have to be really honest as well with ourselves. Why do we do that yoga practice? Why do we do it? And if we're really, really honest, then we might realize sometimes, well, actually, I do it because I don't want to lose my physical strength, or I'm afraid I will put on weight if I do less physical practice, or there's a lot of answers that people tend to give themselves if they are really honest, or a particular yoga practice is just cool and they feel more confident if they can do it, and there's nothing wrong with that, but and we should enjoy our body in whatever way. We can dance, we can do handstands, we can do a lot of things that we enjoy, and it's a good thing that we do that. But if we use yoga in the sense that it was intended to balance out all of our energies and to create a consciousness that is aware of its own, or our own authenticity, that we can live in authenticity and integrity, then we have to use yoga in a different way. We have to use it in a way of communicating with the body, a continuous communication with the body. I listen to my body, to any of its little messages that it might give me, and then I react to it. And then when I have spent some time with my body, I can be more sensitized as well, and I get to a little bit more subtle realm of energy, the prana maya kosha, the sheath, or the part of my consciousness that consists of prana. And prana is the life force, the vitality that is circulating in our system through our nervous system. It's in the bloodstream, and sometimes it is compared to the breath and oxygen that circulates, but it's not oxygen, because if we would inject oxygen into a dead body, it would not be alive. So it's not just that. Prana really is life force. It's the impulse that starts the whole nervous system to actually function, and it flows through the whole nervous system. And we can influence it through our breath. And that is why in the Ashtanga system, we do the physical practice first. And in the physical practice, of course, there is the breath work in our ujjayi breath, in our ujjayi breathing, and the lengthening of the breath that keeps us in a steady rhythm. But only then, after some time, when that breath flows continuously, then we sit and maybe do some more breathing exercises to more specifically work with the nervous system. And the nervous system is a part of the physical body, but it is also a bridge to the emotional body, because it's through the nervous system that we feel any emotion. And that is then the next realm that we enter into, the next dimension, Manomaya Kosha. It's the realm of the mind that deals with emotion, that interprets the things that we see or hear or feel out in the world. And this is a level of yoga practice that is usually not done in the yoga classes, and for good reason as well, because that's where it really gets therapeutic. And as yoga teachers, as pure yoga teachers, we can't, we can't work therapeutically. Even yoga therapy, well, in Germany at least, we're not allowed to call ourselves therapists in any way, unless we are actually therapists. And there's different ways to gain that recognition. In Germany, we have that the Heilpraktiker, which is really specific to Germany. In other countries, it's not like that. And every country has their own rule as to what we can do, really. But generally, a general class run by a yoga teacher who does not have a therapeutic background, it stops there. It simply stops there. We work with the body and we work with the breath. But above that, we don't generally work with the emotions, at least not in a bigger way or in a specific way. We might include emotions a little bit in a yoga nidra practice, for example, but that doesn't mean that the potential stops there. Yoga practice doesn't stop there. Only the public scope of a yoga teacher stops there, maybe. But this is, in fact, in my opinion, where a lot of the practice really begins, because we can spend a lifetime on physical practice and even breath work, and we will do a lot of good through that. We will be able to balance out a lot of things and go through life in a much more balanced and happy way. But if we really want to heal something that is a deep-seated emotion, an unconscious conditioning, a trauma of the past or something like that, we have to go beyond that, and we have to enter the emotional realm. And then through that emotional realm comes the realm of the deep unconscious mind and the unconscious conditionings. And when we get there, it's not always pretty. It's not really, when we face our inner demons, that is never joyful at first. But then when we have freed ourselves from them, a lot of energy is released then, and then it is very joyful. And then we enter Ananda Maya Kosha, the realm in our consciousness that feels absolutely blissful, because we have moved beyond the mental realm, Jnana Maya Kosha. We have moved beyond the emotional realm. We have moved beyond the physical realm, and we've cleaned out everywhere. We've cleared it up, and we've freed ourselves. And we are so close to our true, authentic self now. We can see it, we can feel it, we can live in integrity. And that is why it's called Ananda Maya Kosha, the blissful sheath of consciousness, because it feels so wonderful to be me, to be just authentically me. And The Yoga Sutras, the Ashtanga, in the description of the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, it begins with the yamas, and I've talked about the yamas before, but they really are so much underestimated, I think, sometimes, because we tend to see them purely on a physical level. But it's a good thing if we actually see them on all those levels. And I would like to offer you a challenge for this week. I would really like to offer you the challenge of Ahimsa and Satya, the first 2 of the yamas, for 1 week. Let's try together. Let's try this Ahimsa, non-violence. So we're not trying to force anything. If you're trying to not force anything, we need trust. We need faith. We need to have faith in the universe. We need to have faith that everything is the way it's supposed to be. We also have to have faith in myself, in ourselves, that we are enough. I am enough. And I do enough, and it's good, and it's okay. Even if I make mistakes, it's okay. And also we have to have faith in other people, that other people also just simply do their best, and also they are enough. And if we practice that really consciously for 1 week, even with that affirmation or that mantra, I am enough. It's one of the most powerful mantras or affirmations that I've ever used, really, in my life. I am enough. And try to go through that week with that sense of I am enough and other people are enough, and I trust whatever is happening now. I don't have to force anything. And then the other part of that is Satya. Satya means truthfulness or honesty. And if we really go through the week in complete honesty, and what that means is not just things like do not lie, don't tell lies to other people. Obviously, but also don't tell lies to yourself, and be really honest to yourself, especially when it comes to emotions. So if I feel on any given day, how do I feel? If I feel, oh, actually, I'm quite fearful at this moment because I was just in a situation, I was unsure of myself and I was judged by others, and that caused myself to be fearful and doubting myself, and things like that. If I just admit that, even just to myself, sometimes the whole physical body relaxes when we admit to ourselves, actually, do you know what? I'm not very well at the moment. I'm not coping very well with life at the moment. Even just that simple admitting of the truth of my emotions can cause the emotions sometimes even to disappear, because my physical body and my whole being relaxes, because it is all of a sudden in its integrity again, in its authenticity. I am actually honest with myself, and then I can be honest with others. And just try those 2 things really consciously for 1 week and see what happens. And please do, contact me and write to me whenever some of you do. It's really nice to get messages. It kind of really motivates me to keep going and keep doing those podcasts. And it's really nice. So I really hope that some of you might join and try and do that challenge, and consciously really, go through the 1 week every day in your integrity, in your complete honesty. No lie, whether to yourself nor to others. And also, you are enough, and others are enough. And the universe doesn't make mistakes. So trust the universe and trust whatever it is that is happening at the moment, that it is for the higher good. were listening to a podcast on radical self-love, an Ayurvedic perspective of body and mind by Sandra Hayes and the Little School of Happiness. For more information and offers, go to www.sandrahayes.eu.